Hi everybody, thank you for joining me at David and Christina's house here in Hamilton, Ontario. I got to witness their vows as a priest about 2.5 years ago, and I couldn't help but notice how joyful they were on their wedding day and beyond. You know, we've spoken on the phone or seen each other at the parish. I've moved on to other ministries, but they've continued, you know, to live out this great vocation, and so we're going to ask them a little bit about their vocation. I'd like to start with you, Christina. Can you tell me, you know, what first, you know, kind of made you think that married life would be a real possibility with David?
Well, we talked about it, and I think we always were drawn to married life even before meeting each other, just through the example that we had grown up with our parents. Their marriages and our siblings' marriages have been an example that we have been kind of raised around, and so we kind of, I don't know if it's fair to say that we kind of knew what we were looking for in like respect and compassion and understing and that feeling of love and togetherness and the ability to work together. And then I know when I first met David, he was 12, 13, and I was 16, and it was through his sister actually. And we back even then we kind of recognized each other's traits and kind of being attracted to them.
Or like, how did that work? Were you away for a while?
Yeah, no, that was like a long time ago.
Split off into our different lives for a while, and then I went through a difficult process, and we kind of re-met around the end of that. And I was going through a divorce, and we became friends again, and we re-met each other and started learning new things about each other, for things that we hadn't known that had gone on for the past 10, 13 years. And we just recognized more in each other than we had before. And I went through an annulment process, and you know, she was there for me, and we just learn more from each other through that.
Yeah, now I remember going through that process with you, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that process, because there's some people out there who, you know, wonder, you know, about even going, you know, through that, or why somebody would even want, you know, an annulment.
Right. For me, it was very important for me to the whole marriage. Let me start again.
Right, that's right. Take your time.
For me, marriage was very important for me, and I really wanted to experience that the proper way. I jumped the gun before, and I got into something with someone that I really didn't fully know, and she didn't fully know me, and we went too fast, and you know, I really wanted the whole process to be. Sorry.
You're right. You're right.
And I think, like, when I first met David, like, obviously that was before everything happened, and then I kind of been in the background as he, gosh, I was even around through his whole process of marriage, his previous marriage. And I think when we re-met each other, and kind of the annulment process, almost like, I don't know if it's fair to say that it brought us closer together, because it really made us look at like how serious marriage is, and that it's something that, I mean, he had experience with it before, and we talked a lot about it, and that was a huge thing, and really, you know, said what was in our hearts about it, and kind of knew a little bit more like what we were getting into, because he had gone down that path before. We had to really display a lot of patience on both ends. Like, you know, if I was one of those people, I was 29 at the time, and, you know, if I was looking to, you know, I want to get married right now, that wasn't going to happen. Like, it was really important to us to get married in the church, so I really wanted to be there and support David, and kind of grow along the process and find out about each other. And even though it went, well, and not slow, but it was like, you know, a year long. It went smoothly, and it gave us lots of time together.
It gave us time to contemplate what we had and what we knew, what we wanted to do, and then that was to marry each other, to live a married life together.
Right. So was the waiting worth it in the end?
Definitely worth it. You know, it was. I would recommend anyone who had a failed marriage before to try to go through the process. It is definitely worth it.
It's almost therapeutic too, like you know, like going through something sometimes that, I mean, I know I was never married, but some situations like you kind of almost have you know, you get scarred from other things, and you kind of sometimes think, oh, like, I don't want to do that again because it didn't work before. Yes. So this is almost...
It is a healing process. The whole
healed both of us.
It is a healing process, and it helped me a lot. Just going through the process has helped me realize what I wanted.
And as you live out, you know, 2.5 years now of married life, can you talk about some of the joys and some of the moments maybe where there is laughter?
Well, our son, William, he's 5.5 months, and he brings us like so much joy and laughter. We see each other in him, and we just like, we're marveled every morning. Like, we're like, oh my gosh, like as if we have a baby. And he's just like so precious, and yeah, he brings us a lot of joy, and even with ourselves, like I know, like if David's having a stressful day or I'm having a stressful day, like we bring humor into it. We joke about things.
One little comment will just ease everything. One little joke.
And then we realize, like, why are we making a big deal about that? Like, it's just so little compared to all the big things going on in the world. And
David, what's some of the joy that comes from being married to Christina? What are some of the things that you really experience that you're grateful for?
For me, it's being like completely safe in her presence. I know that I can be totally comfortable with myself. I can be honest with her. I don't have to hide anything from her, and just the complete safeness in her presence.
Wow. And there's some people who you know don't yet have what you have, you know, in that way, and they're looking at married life as a possibility, you know, in their future. So, is there some advice that you could give them, you know, as they discern what God's dream for them might be?
Biggest advice, I think, for both of us would be patience. Patience to whatever situation you may be in, whether it's a person that you think you would like to marry or not. Marriage is something that, like, it's a growing process, and our relationship grew. It wouldn't be like what it is today if we had jumped right into it and we didn't really reflect and go through the process with the church and have the support of the church, and not just the annulment, but the whole marriage process. Like, you know, them saying that you contact the church a year before, like, that's really important. We found, like, it not just for, like, you know, the wedding book and planning the dress and all that stuff. It was important just in our relationship growing in the direction that we were going. And yeah, patience, and I'd say teamwork too is really important. Meeting halfway. A lot of times I find myself, even though we have a lot of things in common and like to do a lot of things like traveling and art and time with family, we do have some differences too, and like we respect those differences, and we take the time to get to know each other. Like, and I still, like, every day, well, little known facts also, but I still find like new things out about David like every day, and I think that's important, that we don't get wrapped up in the busyness of the world that it can be sometimes, and just, you know, kind of stop, smell the roses and chill and get to know each other. And I know a lot of times when we go on long drives, like we just drove to see his parents in Atlanta, Georgia, and like we love those times because we can like talk. Like all of a sudden it's like no one can call us, and we can just like get to know each other even more.
Even with a 4-month-old baby in the back seat?
He is an awesome traveler. No, he's a very good traveler. Knock on wood, hopefully that continues. Yeah.
How about you, David? What advice would you give to young people?
My advice would be to know exactly what you're getting into, and know exactly who you're getting into with. Learn everything about them. Pick someone who you can be completely yourself with, and put everything you have into your marriage, and you'll get so much more back from it.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you so much both for doing this interview. It's just a delight to be around you, and car alarms and all. And I wish you well as you continue to grow in this great vocation. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.